Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan Nair, and here basically we are talking about the attraction speed. Basically, in last part, basically we saw that how basically the IT industry attraction is. That is basically very simple. Basically, Um that basically is done by the human only. Basically, that's why basically it's very simple. So human basically done the mapping, the things basically server got created. That's basically very simple. Basically, but that's basically many less people knows. This basically never gets torch basically. This basically never gets training basically, you can say. This type of training basically will never gets in the Harvard, in the Oxford, in the universities, in the IITs. Even IITs basically can't tell this all this thing basically, that yours how basically the business development group, from business development group basically the business development gets the projects, and then basically the sequence basically starts basically. The sequence basically starts from there only basically. So you can just imagine basically the things basically the connected, each and every attraction basically connected, each and every things basically as connected basically, each and every things basically connected. From the business development chain basically, the development project basically got to the one software company, we can say as a software park basically, and there that park basically is connected with the. Now here the question is basically, according to the park basically they gets the project, or basically according to the software company owner basically they gets the projects. That's basically also one of the question basically, that also basically we are going to discuss this in only basically, how basically gets the project, on the base of park or on the base of the sorry, the software company's owner, or on the base of the development officer basically. That is basically the business development officer basically. He basically gets the project on the base of the server mapping which is already done long before. He got the projects, he's get the project, he got the project, he signed the each and everything, proposal, whatever things basically. Then basically he gets the project. After that the project starts basically. Now that basically the main thing basically, how business development officer basically maps the projects, whether he creates the uh, agile methodology, scrum framework basically. Each and every managers basically that he basically creates his own team basically. That is also there basically. He creates basically the scrum owner means basically he is the client. Like this basically he is going to create, or he is basically directly going to give the control of the client to the director basically. That is the thing basically, because here lots of things basically comes into the picture, because here directly the energies are basically getting controlled, the power company basically gets into the control. Lots of things are basically there, how the things are basically mapped, each and everything's basically. I had taken one example of the TCS company, that CRM project. How basically the list of project managers basically, they basically don't know that CRM project discussion is ongoing, and the project name is also given CRM. That is basically the given by the Tata Consultancy Group, that basically TCS company basically owner basically knows, and he basically given the name also. And like this basically he told that these are our managers, you can basically set the ideas to them basically. Then basically they started discussion, and that automatically basically the chain basically got generated of that CRM project basically. There are basically 18 to 19 basically the types of CRM basically project were designed in that particular area basically, and there basically the chain basically got generated. The project manager told that basically we have discussed 17 to 18 types of CRM projects. Then the TCS owner also basically was shocked basically, because he was doing first time that time basically, when he basically started the CRM, started the TCS basically. That time basically he knows this all the thing basically, which currently I am telling that basically TCS company owner knows each and everything basically just now basically which I am discussing. So like this basically TCS company told that company owner told that, yeah basically We have checked all the 17 types of CRM project basically, which is mapped in the project manager's brain. Then basically he told that the and power companies also with control with him only. That is basically the Tata Power Company. So he basically given the information to the Tata Power Group. That basically now, yeah, basically Tata Power Group basically the all the ideas are basically connecting to the brain, and that is basically 18 types of ideas basically are already created basically. Thanks a lot basically for help. Like this basically the attraction basically starts. This is basically attraction. This is the very dangerous attraction basically. Which type of blood group basically which gets which type of CRM project. And this basically the TCS company owner basically 100% knows that which type of blood group basically he has to take into the project. And Tata Power Group also told that basically take this type of whole blood groups basically in your project basically in the CRM discussion basically. Like this basically he tested each and everything basically. Like this basically he tested each and everything. And like this basically he launched basically the CRM project. And like this basically TCS company basically become the number one company. And this all this thing basically number one company TCS company also knows, which just now basically I'm discussing. And this all thing basically TCS company also knows because it's a number one company of the world. He knows this all this thing basically. How things are basically mapped. How basically things are mapped. He actually knows each and everything. That basically TCS company owner basically I'm talking about. So he basically knows. And like this basically TCS company become the number one company. Just see basically the TCS story, kahani. Like this basically the attraction of the things basically starts. Like this the attraction basically things basically starts from the business development officer basically attracts the thing. Attraction has happened on the base of the server. So server company basically the software server company basically that are IBM, each and everything, they basically have the each and every data basically, that these are the chain of the projects. They basically have the developer information also, that this basically CRM project basically have these all developers basically, and they basically take care also of the managers, developers, team leaders, technical writers, CTOs of that particular project, and they takes care of also basically. They basically don't do any harm to head, to eye, so they don't do basically harm. Like this basically they takes care of each and every body parts of the each and every projects basically. So like this basically the development officer told that I have done my task, and basically he basically decides, or basically it might be possible the company manager, company owner basically decides, because that depends upon the business development only basically. Because company owner basically mostly might not be knowing that this is the way basically, this is the road map basically he is going to get the project. Even the company owner basically might not be knowing that. If he knows that the how the thing the server basically is created, then basically he might be knowing the roadmap of the project. uh, getting information means how basically is going to mail to that person, that person is going to call, then that person basically is going to give them some mail information, then basically he is going to mail this that, and then basically that person is going to tell the project company will be going to take some condition, we want basically these all demands basically has to be fulfilled. Like this the demand basically comes into the picture, that we want that, we want this, we want this, we want that, this that. Like this basically the demands also basically comes into the picture. So demands also gets into the mapping, and according to the demands basically lots of things basically. Demands basically means what actually demands is what might be the demand of the clients basically. Few people says that their habit basically are like this, so according to the habit they demands. Like this each and every things basically are mapped. Like this each and every things are basically mapped. Even 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500 rupees habits also basically matters. Like this the things basically gets into the picture, and then basically they gets the project, they decides basically whether it should be the scrum level development team has to be created, or basically we can directly give this project to the senior director or vice president or CEO of the company, so that they can basically easily able to handle the project. Like this the project basically starts. So just see basically each and everything basically are mapped with the power company only. And power companies are giving the power, not the energy company. This is basically in front of the world basically. We can just see the attraction basically. Mostly the energy companies only give the, because the power basically comes to the Earth planet, that basically comes to the satellites. But energy company basically don't allow the laptops or computers or the homes to directly to connect with the satellites, or to the plane, or to the helicopters. Few basically cities are basically connected with few helicopters and planes basically. Their power supply basically I'm talking about the power supply. Few people says that few cities power supplies are connected with the planes. They basically controls the power supply of the train of the cities. So one person basically was shocked basically how that is possible. How that is possible? How that is possible? How that is possible? Then one person told that basically the satellite group basically handles the power supply. Then that satellite group basically told that basically previously we were basically giving directly power supply to the each and every cities. That system basically we closed, and then basically we started the new system, that is basically the from energy companies basically we are giving our data to energy companies, and the energy companies are basically giving the power supply and data to the each and every software companies. Here basically we are talking about the projects basically. That's why basically we have talked, we basically are talking that it's a software companies. So power supplies are basically getting, energy companies are basically getting the to power data to software companies. So business development officer mapped, the scrum system if it's activated, that is mapped. Then basically the directors, vice presidents, CEO is also mapped. So just see basically the now the question is basically, here the CEOs, vice presidents, and the senior directors and the directors, managers are basically mapped up according to the blood group, or according to what basically. That basically need to check basically, because human resource basically group never checks this. But this is the main thing basically. This is the main thing, and mostly India, sorry, the human resource group basically has uh, not taken basically care of this basically, that this type of blood group basically should get this type of projects. Mostly they might be also basically because the which person to call basically, they basically are given by the their managers basically, their directors, their human resource groups basically, their top level groups basically. And in top level basically it's India top level, that is basically everybody knows who is India's top level. So they basically say that we have mapped each and every resources. You will see only those resources. Few people says that I can't see your resume. Why? Because he is telling that the person basically the blood group which he is having, we don't have that type of projects basically. So he told that basically. So one person actually called that basically I can't see your resume basically. Then basically the another person told that basically you might not be having this type of blood groups project basically with you. You sir, you do one thing. You tell the Accenture company to do the login and whether he can able to see the your that person's resume or not. Then he told that yeah, basically I can see. Then he told that basically, yeah, this is basically something mapping is basically. Somebody has done the mapping. When the user basically was created. When the user basically was created. by the human resource group. So this human resource group told that we have kept our value basically. We have kept our value basically. We have basically kept our value also. So that basically in future basically any big will happen, then basically we also have to take care of ourselves also. Then basically the human resource group shows that basically we are also basically getting data from some government groups basically, from government groups. So like this basically the data are basically mapped. That also we are going to discuss in this attraction topic only, that how basically the data are basically getting mapped. So like this, assume that the senior directors, managers, CEOs, vice president basically all mapped into the projects according to the company setup, which was done by the company owner and the company secretary, company groups basically who do the company setup. Like this, the company setup was done, and the company is basically in the infotech park. Assume that it's in some infotech park basically, in some infotech park. So like this, basically the company basically heads. I am just taking as an example of the software. We will see few more example also basically of the some other sectors basically, or other groups basically. So like this, the project basically moves up to the developer level, tester basically, and the QA group. Each and every basically groups were basically mapped. First, basically the human resource groups told that basically we have these all resources, and the project managers or the directors basically hires the project managers, and like this basically each and every teams basically was got hired, and like this the projects also started. Like this basically each and every things was basically mapped. Here the main thing was, I was taken one example, I had basically already taken one example of the CRM project basically. There were basically 17 to 18 project managers of the one company basically, which I have already told which company, that I have already told in one of the videos, that this company basically got one CRM new project, and they basically tested that project, and according to that basically the things was ongoing. So each and every project basically was mapped. The managers was mapped, developers was mapped, team leader was mapped, CTO was mapped, CEO was mapped, vice president was mapped, managing director was mapped under the company owner and under the infotech park and under the city basically. So like this, the project basically was mapped. Like this, the project started. Like this, the project basically they started. I had taken one more example of the Microsoft company basically. They told that basically the company owner basically given the requirement to the Microsoft that I basically got one project, and this project is going to be developed, going to create vegetables. So according to that, basically Microsoft, can you please give me the one software development kit, please? That type of mail basically is done to the Microsoft Corporation. So the Microsoft Corporation told that basically, can you please give me your requirement basically little bit? Then basically he told that basically we are going to create this project, and we basically have this all basically data, and which is basically created by the IITs and IIMs. They have basically the data. So the Microsoft groups basically told that basically can we connect with that IIT groups and IIMs group basically directly. Then the project company basically owner told that basically for that basically you have to connect with the governments, because it's a one system basically which is going to create. So for that basically they connected with the governments. The government basically, that is basically everybody knows that's a Congress government. Congress government told that basically this system would be good or not. For that basically they have created another system basically. They have created this system also, we are going to discuss basically what system basically they have created, how they basically checks whether this system is good or not, and this system is going to be good or not for the country. So like this basically the government told that we will let we know basically. Like this basically they told that basically yeah, you can connect, you can can't connect. Like this basically the things basically got into picture. Then the each and every groups basically comes to the visit. Microsoft told that basically we got the project data from the government, we got the data from the IITs, IIMs, that this type of research basically are available to enter the data so that the vegetable can be created. So that the vegetables can be created. You can just see the mapping basically they have created. IITs has basically professors basically they tell us basically we have each and every data basically we have created that data basically they are telling us they have created it. So creation basically says lots of things basically. So they tells that basically we have created we have the vegetables data like this basically the Microsoft Corporation told that basically yeah that's okay basically we can create the software development kit and we can send you to like that basically the entire basically border mapping was created by the Microsoft Corporation because of Microsoft Corporation itself is one of the power company you can say that because they have their own cities from there basically they takes the power supply they gets the energies they starts the operating systems you can just imagine what they don't do what they do sorry like this basically this is also one of the part of attraction management level attraction developer level attraction quality level attraction these all things basically we are going to see in this first question only till now basically we have discussed that Microsoft basically corporation has sent the development kit this basically I have already discussed in the one of the part but then also basically here it's required that's why basically I captured that idea from that time and then basically I told that the Microsoft corporation has created the software development kit according to the information given by the company owner that he told that to Microsoft that I basically want to create vegetable so according to that basically I have the data and that data is basically with IITs and IIMs. For that, basically, the Microsoft told that I have already we have taken the permission like this. Basically, they got the data from government. IITs like this. Basically, they created the story. Basically, they have also not told that basically how they got the data. So just see basically how the chains are basically connecting. So like this, basically, company owner also basically was not able to track basically whether how basically Microsoft basically got the data. That was USA basically. You can just imagine the USA groups. So like this, basically, the Microsoft sent the software development kit to the management team, basically that is CEO, vice presidents, and directors. So this is basically the second number part of the first question: attraction, speed, basically. What actually attraction, speed, and up to what level the things are going to connect.